Hello and welcome to the South Indian. My name is Sudha Sadanand. Let's get started with the top headlines from the south of India right now on your screens. Karnataka High Court quashes FIR in a money laundering case against state BJP President Vijayendra. Tamil Nadu Minister Ponmudi appears before ED in illegal sand mining case. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu vows to complete first phase of rehabilitation in the Polavaram project in 6 months. Telangana Cabinet approves financial support of Rs 12,000 to landless agricultural labourers. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammad Khan inaugurates the International Sanskrit Seminar at the Kerala University. Many stories from the south of India, and some of them, let me just tell you what's coming up. First up, what shall be B.Y. Vijayendra's future after party faces internal factionalism? That's our first story, which is coming up right now. A very crucial question that we are asking in the context of politics in Karnataka. Will this man, B.Y. Vijayendra, sail through? The winter session in Belagavi can easily go down as one of the most controversial sessions, with both the ruling Congress and the BJP accusing each other of misappropriation in many ways. Even as BJP State President B.Y. Vijayendra is battling the charge made by several Congress leaders, including the CM himself, Siddaramaiah, of allegedly having bribed the then Minority Commission Chairperson Anwar Manipadi to suppress an investigation against the encroachment of Waqf property, there is yet another battle unfolding in his own turf, and that being the party itself. For weeks now, Vijayendra has been targeted by Basanagoda Yatnal, who has trained his guns, questioning his qualifications to lead the party, as also his father, former Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa. In the latest, B.Y. Vijayendra and Basanagoda Patil Yatnal came face to face in the assembly yesterday, and despite the turmoil, greeted each other very civilly. Before that, on 13 December, Vijayendra greeted Yatnal on his birthday. All seems okay, but apparently Vijayendra had invited all BJP MLAs for dinner at a private hotel in Belgaum, but then Yatnal never turned up. In the past week or so, Vijayendra seems to be asserting himself and made it clear to all those who were listening that the party shall not brook any more revolt, and there are no factions within the state unit. He strongly disapproved of party leaders led by former Minister MP Renukacharya and others planned to organize a massive rally in Davangere in February next year. He said, and I am quoting B.Y. Vijayendra here, "I urge all our former legislators and party leaders who have gathered in Davangere that already our conducts have created a lot of confusion amongst party workers and supporters in the state. By organizing such events, no one should give room for more confusion. I am appealing to those planning to hold any such rally and convention to not proceed further without party's formal approval. As a party president, it is my bounden duty to take everyone into confidence to strengthen the party at the grassroots level." Meanwhile, there are very strong indications that the top brass in New Delhi may summon all the major players to Delhi. Yatnal, Yedurappa, Vijayendra and Renukacharya. Renukacharya, by the way, is already in the capital for a rapprochement. Is it more than evident that factionalism within the party impacted the recent by-election and shall also prove to be a major issue in the Zilla and Taluk Panchayat elections? The question is whether Yatnal versus Yedurappa will prove detrimental for the party in the future. And what is the role of Renukacharya, who until recently was seen to be close to Yedurappa? To speak more on this, we have a very esteemed guest, Professor Chambi Puranik, Senior Political Analyst, who's joined us. Namaskara, Professor. I hope you are well. Professor Puranik, what is really bothersome is that first I want you to, please unravel this mystery. Why is Renukacharya holding a parallel rally in Devangere in February? Isn't he a loyalist of Yadurappa? We were seen always with Yadurappa. They said we've built the party together, we are in it together, brothers in arm. You know, they went temple hopping recently. Today Vijayendra has to tell Renukacharya, do not have a parallel rally. Why do you think Renukacharya is doing this, Professor?
Compared to Yatnal, Sudha, what you have analyzed is absolutely correct. It's a very objective and fair reporting on the ugly side of factionalism in the BJP party, though other parties like JDS and Congress also have factionalism or groupism, etc. But here, it's a leading major opposition party which has to, represent the agony and aspirations of the people of Karnataka. At that particular juncture, the Belagavi session, which is in Kittur, Karnataka, as compared to Kalyan, Karnataka, it is also little more progressive than the other part of other regions of Karnataka. So these are issues that should have been in the forefront, So I think, Mr. Yatnal must have already made an impact at the national level. The very fact that there no disciplinary action was there against Mr. Yatnal, in spite of his such scathing attacks against Vijayendra and his father, I think, Mr. Yatnal has been assured by the High Command that all will be well, settled and all that. Maybe some kind of a position Mr. Yatnal will get to organize the party as a kind of organizational president or whatever that is there. Because, even Yatnal also needs a kind of recognition. He's a very senior leader and a very honest person. As far as my knowledge goes, Yatnal, except that he has got loose cannons and many other unverified accusations to make, he is a person with a lot of integrity and commands, I think, major section of Lingaites as his supporters. That's one. So, number two, Mr. Vijayendra's appeal to Mr. Yatnal and others, it goes well, in terms of the kind of, etiquette or the respect for senior person and all that. That must have been told by High Command. Otherwise, High Command would have been in such a laughing state of affairs, because BJP High Command, as compared to any other High Command in other parties, is more disciplined and powerful. But in Karnataka's case, I think these people have just ignored the kind of dissensions which are there in the BJP party. So the third thing is that Renukacharya is a non-entity. As I said in the beginning, as compared to Yatnal, is a non-entity. But Renukacharya has his own stakes to, or his own issues to take on Mr. Yatnal and others, because they belong to different sects of Karnataka. So this sectarianism in Karnataka is also another reason that I think comes in the open in recent days because of the Panchamshali agitation and all that. So Renukacharya is probably, in the beginning, Vijayendra must have told him to just counter Mr. Yatnal. Now he has been shut down because they have gone to Delhi and discussed with High Command. So therefore, what you said is correct, but it's only a temporary phase, because unitedly they succeed in being a good opposition, because elections are still another 3.5 4 years there. But the other day, one statement by Vijayendra said 29 legislators of Congress party are ready to cross over or leave Congress party and all that. Such kind of Operation Kamala and other tactics don't go well with the public of Karnataka. Because Congress itself has got a lot of allegations, its own kind of scandals, including Muda and the Valmiki Agarna and many other such things. These are issues that you should debate on. And the Belgaum session is one such great opportunity to express the opinion and feelings, aspirations of the people of the region. And
but it's been, Professor,
politics due to factionalism, due to infighting.
Professor, but the Belagavi session has been taken over by this, entire issue of how, the Minority Commission Chairperson, Manipadi, was, offered 150 crores by Vijayendra. So that really dominated. But Professor Chambi Puranik, I want to ask you a question. We all remember how Yadurappa was taken off the CM's chair by the same New Delhi. They thought that he is old, his role is over. They brought Baswaraj Bommai, who has socialist moorings, and then they regretted it forever and brought back Yadurappa, because there is no taller leader than Yadurappa, who actually is responsible for BJP's presence in South India. It's a fact. Today, when you summon him to New Delhi, along with Yatnal, Renukacharya and Vijayendra, his own son, don't you think it's a kind of very insulting for Yadurappa? In all this, what has Yadurappa done? Only thing is, Yatnal wanted the position of the president of the BJP state unit in Karnataka. It was given to Vijayendra. But to drag Yediyurappa in, don't you think it will cost the BJP majorly in Karnataka if that happens?
I think you are right in one way, because Yediyurappa's stature is higher. I don't think anybody can reach his level as on today, or even in future. If at all BJP comes back to power, there is no such person who can command the goodwill and respect of all the people of Karnataka, apart from Lingayats itself. So he is an asset to BJP party. And as you interpreted, I think it may not be an insult to Yediyurappa, but he is a father figure. He will be there in the discussions, because nothing should be done behind his back. Because in High Command also there are groups like Santosh and others who are trying to undermine or the kind of influence that Vijayendra commands because of his father. They want to expose or see that the other leaders come to fore and they also become prominent leaders, etc. But that is not possible in Karnataka. In Karnataka, either Mr. Yediyurappa or his family, his son, whatever may be the allegations, they are the ones who can reach the organization or grassroots levels. Till such thing, or till such organizational counter is done by Yatnal and others, it will not happen, because it cannot happen overnight. It has to be done through a lot of kind of involvement and also gathering support and all that. And people of Karnataka, as I assessed, they have a lot of appreciation for Vijayendra. Whatever may be the scandal, 150 Manipad, Anwar Manipad is saying this and all that. These are all things to be inquired. I think even Mr. Vijayendra should ask, let there be an inquiry against me and also against Congress party, Muda, Valmiki Agarna, excise contractors, allegation of 700 crores misuse, and many other things, including the work property. So what is the biggest scandal that Karnataka has seen over last 2 decades or more than 12 to 14 years? So if that has not been taken care, I don't think the Congress party will be in a position to fight the BJP in that. So there are a lot of armories there for BJP also to counter Congress. So these are all things. But as you said, going back to High Command, calling Mr. Yediyurappa in the presence of Yatnal and the other groups of Renukacharya and all that, it's a political dynamics, the crisis management, or conflict management. These are all about to happen in politics, because in politics there is no high and dry. All are equal in terms of discipline and all that. So it is a discipline exercise. I don't think there is any other major surgery that is in the offing or which will be also a speculation. I don't think we are barring speculations. I think, there is a kind of reconciliation, and that reconciliation will be done.
Professor, the point is that when Yatnal was called by the disciplinary committee, there was a big drama. He said, I will not go alone, I'll go with my supporters. Anyway, he appeared before them and he said that, after that there has been a silence. Now look at it, there is a silence. One thought, will he resign, will he form his own party, etc., etc. Now, Vijayendra, who was brought in to appease Yediyurappa because they had treated Yediyurappa badly. So, Vijayendra got that position also as a consolation prize. Yes. The point is, Professor, do you think Vijayendra will sail through, or do you think there is going to be, even if he sails through, number 2 question is, what happens to Yatnal? Will he say, I am walking out now, enough is enough, I will not stay in the party?
No, I don't think, knowing the nature of Yatnal, he will go out of BJP and form another party, because he is a man who is committed, Pakka Hindutva leader in a very moderate sense. I am not saying he is a fanatic like Anant Kumar Hegde and others. So that is an asset for BJP in terms of taking forward the Hindutva agenda, which is supported by RSS. So he is RSS worker, and I am sure he will not go to that extent. Even if he goes, it will be suicidal, because anybody, including Yatnal or Vijayendra, if they are trying to form a separate party and all that, I don't think it will be a very mature or a very responsible stand, So I think, things will reconcile. And politics, everything is possible. As you said, it is utterly possible. So therefore, I would consider this as something which is a thaw, the temporary thaw, which is going to be consolidated in terms of a kind of a solid peace or united the front of a BJP government in the months and years to come also. That's what I feel as on today.
All right. And on that note, Professor Chambi Puranik, as always, such a pleasure to have you on the show, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Namaste.
And now let's move on to the next story. Police serves 3 notices to Mohan Babu. That's the story which is coming up. All right, a story which created shock and rage across the country. This Mohan Babu, whom we have named Barbaric Babu, served notices. What's the real story? There are, various cases registered in connection with actor Mohan Babu, and the police has now served notices to him. One by Mohan Babu against his son Manoj Manchu, another by Manoj Manchu himself, and a third involving an assault on our colleague and reporter of TV9 Telugu, Ranjit. On 10th of December, Mohan Babu grievously attacked my colleague Ranjit while he was in line of duty, resulting in multiple fractures in his cheekbone. Of course, subsequently, Mohan Babu apologized for his act. That's Ranjit on your screen. He, as of now, is recuperating in hospital, and the injuries apparently shall take nearly a month to heal. Like I said, Mohan Babu apologized, but that, of course, is not enough. The law will take its own course in the assault case, which evoked shock and rage by the journalistic fraternity and politicians across the nation. The investigation is still going on, with authorities in the process of gathering medical reports. Additionally, on recommendation of Rachakonda police, Mohan Babu has surrendered his weapons to Chittoor police. That's the latest update on the Mohan Babu assault case on my colleague and reporter of Telugu 9, Ranjit. Next story will evoke shock. Rupees 24 crores worth of drugs seized in the largest ever drug haul in IT city, IT capital, Bengaluru. That's coming up next. All right, that's the story. Biggest drug haul in Bengaluru. In a major crackdown, the Central Crime Branch Police in Bengaluru seized drugs worth 24 crores. The operation, conducted near KR-Puram's T. Chikkannapalya, resulted in the confiscation of 12 kg of MDMA, a very high-value synthetic drug. The police has arrested a 40-year-old Nigerian woman suspected of operating the supply chain. According to the CCB Narcotics Control Squad, the accused was residing in TC Palya near the KR-Puram police station limits and had been running a shop catering to foreign nationals. However, under the guise of selling food products and items, she was allegedly engaged in peddling narcotics. Acting on credible information received on 13th of December, the CCB team raided the location and apprehended the woman. During the interrogation, the Nigerian woman admitted to procuring MDMA crystals from an African origin supplier based in Mumbai at lower prices and selling them at very inflated rates to foreign nationals, college students as well as software professionals. The bust also revealed the complexity of the network, as 70 Airtel SIM cards were seized alongside the drugs and a mobile phone, raising suspicions about a wider operation involving multiple accomplices in the case. While the arrested woman remains in judicial custody, the primary supplier, the African origin woman in Mumbai, has managed to evade authorities so far. The seized drugs include 12 kg of MDMA crystals in both yellow and white variants, with their estimated value pegged at 24 crores, a case that is registered under the NDPS Act and the Foreigners Act at KR-Puram's police station. And for more on this, let me now go across to my colleague, Muhammad Wajiullah. Waji, largest drug haul, and so shocking, considering the amount of drugs which has been now caught. Tell us what went on. How did they suspect a woman who was apparently selling food products for foreign nationals be engaged in such nefarious activities, Waji?
What we've learned from our sources is that. Hello.
Go on, Waji. I can hear you. Go on, Waji.
From what we've learned from our sources is that the police got a tip off. The CCB especially got a tip off of a certain departmental store in KR-Puram at this particular place was selling drugs in the garb of selling other food products, and that is when the CCB did an entire raid and they found one of their largest ever drug haul which is of 25 crores and which consisted of 12 kgs of MDMA, both in the variants that you have mentioned. Now, the other important thing that we have to notice is these were sold to people in packets of the product, basically in Dettol packets, in food packets, in different packets, and it was sold to people. The police right now is looking for the main culprit behind this entire thing, who's believed to have absconded. But this drug bust come at the crackdown of the festive season or the holiday festive season that is coming by, which involves Christmas and New Year's together. So this is one of the halls or the drug bust that has happened 2 weeks back. We'd seen another big bust where they had done close to 318 kgs of ganja, which also amounted to close to 3.2 to 4 crores. So in the last few days, we've seen multiple such raids by the CCB, by the NDPC, also with regards to the narcotics, drugs, and this thing. And this is all just before the New Year celebrations.
You said very well, because before the festivities, I mean, the stocks were kind of fully updated and kept by this woman. But another thing is, apparently, like I was telling the viewers, the main supplier is still absconding. There is no news about her, and apparently she's in Mumbai. So look at it. It could be a multi-city operation, Vaji.
Vasudha, that is what usually happens in most of these drug busts. The main supplier, the main link that provides these drugs is never arrested. It's always the last rung of people who are involved in the peddling activities. Now, she's also a peddler. A peddler is somebody who's a local on the ground who's selling the product that is being supplied by the supplier. It's the supplier or the product where it's manufactured. These are the places where eminent raids have to happen. But before the police gets to that, the entire scenario changes. And in most of the cases, in most of the drug busts we've seen, it's only the low-rung peddlers that get affected. And in most of these cases, and just like this one, the main supplier, the lady who's supplying from Bombay, has been missing. And the person who's supplying that lady is also a link that we'll have to find out. So those are the things that always go missing every time in a drug bust.
And tell me something that, you know, she's now in custody. And what about those who are consuming it? Because we have named software professionals, college students, etc., etc. Is the government doing anything? Because this menace is very big in Tamil Nadu, Vajula. You know, and the government is trying its level best, and let me tell you on air, failing miserably. Is Karnataka government trying to do something about it? Because like you also said, it always happens that this becomes a multi-city operation.
Well, we have a separate team in Karnataka like every other state. And when it comes to are they doing their best, it is something that nobody can guarantee, because every time it's a miss and a chase. Because if you catch one person, you might miss the other person. And in all these drug busts that we have seen throughout the last 2 months, because of the festive season in Karnataka especially, there have been multiple raids where drugs to the amount of 80 lakhs, 1 crore, 3.25 crore, all these amounts have been busted. But yet people continue to buy these drugs in near colleges, near IT software companies, near the outskirts of the city. And this is a problem not just the city of Bengaluru faces, but various other cities across the country face these problems. And when it comes to busting the drugs, it's always important to find the source from where it's coming rather than the supply chain, because it's all the time, like you and I have spoken in the previous question, that it's always the supply chain that is important. But what the person who gets caught is the last person who's in the supply chain, who's the peddler on the ground, which usually gets caught. Nobody ever gets to know the person from who's running this entire racket, from where it is coming, because in all these other port bustings that has also happened, the nearby ports where they bust drugs, there also you never get to know the supplier of this entire product. And it's these port chains from where drug gets supplied to different parts of the country. And in this case also, this drug was supplied from Bombay through a lady who's also got it from another source. And for all you know, that also would have come through a port. So it's very important now for the CCC to find that chain link and come to a conclusion of busting the entire operation or the entire racket altogether, because all we get is the peddlers who go behind the bus.
On that note, thank you very much, Mohammed Vajullah, for joining us on this broadcast. And the next story, which is coming up, Karnataka government announces a program to curb caesarean section deliveries. That's after the break. I shall see you on the other side.
You remember when someone had hit our car? I had got him to pay up for all the damage.
Yeah, so?
If something goes wrong in this guaranteed return share, I will complain to the exchange and get full compensation. See, there's an agreement.
Dad, you know what? Nobody can promise guaranteed high returns in the share market. Such illegal schemes are sheer fraud. The exchange will not give any compensation for these. That agreement is also useless.
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर.
Challenge is part of business. Success to me means achieving a lot with limited resources.
It is the idea of bringing the best of East and West together.
Valuations can be frothy. Going public is almost like what some of us would like to say is the holy grail, right? IPOs are a trend, not a bubble.
Do secondary markets exist? Answer is absolutely yes, and it's been around for a very long time.
Valuations could be high or low, and valuations may correct over time, but IPOs are here to stay. It is basically a graduation ceremony of sorts. It is potentially where a startup stops being a startup and starts becoming an enterprise.
The IPO space has just started in the past 24 months. The startup ecosystem has been around for 15 years.
Fundamentally, if you have a strong business and you have predictability of cash flows and you can actually give with a fair degree of confidence where the business is headed, the market will reward you.
This and more. Streaming on News9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
All right, that's the next story, a very important story indeed. On the screen you see Health Minister of Karnataka Dinesh Gundurao. Karnataka government to curb caesarean deliveries. The Karnataka government has announced that it shall roll out a new program starting next month aimed at reducing the number of caesarean births in the state. The State Health Minister Dinesh Gundurao, while announcing the program, expressed concern over the surge in C-section deliveries, particularly in private hospitals, and said that natural births were vital for the long-term health of both the mother and child. Rao said that the number of C-sections in the state had risen due to financial incentives and convenience. Putting out data, Gundurao highlighted that the overall C-section rate in Karnataka had jumped from 35% in 2021-22 to 46% currently, with private hospitals accounting for 61%. This announcement to curb C-section birth comes just about a month after 5 maternal deaths were reported from Bellary over a period of just 24 months. From November 9 to 11th November, 4 maternal deaths were reported from Bellary district hospitals, which reported to have occurred following caesarean sections conducted on these 3 days at the maternity operation theatre in the hospital. The death toll went up to 5 after a woman who underwent a C-section developed multi-organ failure and died on 5th of December. Dinesh Gundurao, while speaking about the deaths today, said that 34 caesarean operations were performed in Bellary over 3 days, that is November 9, 10th, 11th, and there were complications in 7 cases. He said that 1 new batch of ringer lactate solution was used on 9 November, and expert doctors had expressed their doubts about this. Gundurao also informed that the West Bengal-based company Pushchim Bongo Pharmaceutical Limited, which had supplied the substandard batches of Ringer's lactate, was blacklisted, and that the government has also issued a show-court notice to KSMSCL MD for departmental inquiry. A committee has been formed under the leadership of Development Commissioner to prepare a detailed report. But the question here is, that is a curb on C-section a solution really? And is it even a viable option for expectant mothers? To discuss this, I am now joined by Dr. Jayashree Gajraj, Senior Consultant Obstetrician and Gynecology. A very, very warm welcome, Dr. Gajraj, to the broadcast. You know, what happened in Bellary is extremely sad. I mean, there are no two ways about it. I have had several discussions on the ringer lactate, which is mandatory apparently for women who have to undergo C-section, so that it hydrates you, because you're not allowed to drink water or eat anything for the 24 hours. But the point is, just to put the blame on private hospitals, and also to put the blame just because I'm rich, you know, I'm getting a caesarean done, is, I think, very, very unfair. Dr. Gajraj, I know journalists shouldn't do it, but here I'm going to raise my hand. 2 caesareans, and only because I cannot give birth normally, naturally. And therefore, there was no option but to cut me up. It is not something that I chose, doctor. It was something that my obstetrician told me, this is the only way that we save you and the child. So what is with this? You have incentives and therefore you do C-sections. I think this is a misnomer.
I think it's not just what you think. It is definitely a myth. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of change in the scenario over the years. Now, when I started practice, say 35, 40 years ago, the number of high-risk cases was very, very much less. Now we have a number of pregnancies are complicated with diabetes, hypertension, big babies, or growth-restricted babies. You know, there are a number of complications, pregnancy-related, that we are seeing, which might necessitate an elective caesarean section. So that's on the one side. Secondly, there are certain indicated cases. Now, for example, a previous caesarean invariably does go in for a repeat caesarean section, and we need to correct these rates that are being given to us, eliminating the elective repeat caesarean sections. So if we are talking of primary sections, it's usually when somebody has a residual poliomyelitis, or what we call a placenta previa, where the placenta is completely covering the os. We have no other option to go for a caesarean section. Now, breech, when the baby is upside down, when the head is not coming down first, is optional. There are some obstetricians who would do a caesarean, some who would go for a elective section, and that debate has been going on for a long time. Now, other cases, the indication would purely be because if the control of the medical condition is not satisfactory, or the woman has gone post-dated and she's not responding to any induction, or because in labor she's not progressing, or there are changes in the baby's heart rate. So these are the only indications. Yeah. Every other woman is allowed to labor and go in for a normal delivery.
Right. You know what really, Dr. Gajraj, you know, because of these deaths in Bellary, which are very unfortunate, the ringer lactate was obviously, you know, it has been found to be faulty, found to be not usable. And of course, the pharma company has been blacklisted, etc., etc. Because there was a mistake done in Ballari, you can't possibly park the mistake on the feet of all caesarean sections, and for the minister to say, because there are incentives. At my time also, caesarean was much more expensive than normal delivery. But it's not that because one is well off or looks privileged, one goes for this. There is distress. There are several other reasons. And in a way, I would rather trust you. My doctor, I know that you are here to save my life and my baby's life. Why would you cut me up? You don't have to cut me up at all. A normal delivery is it's easy for you, it's easy for me, it's easy. Now also for the doctor to say that it is not safe either for the mother or the child, myth, I think.
Absolutely, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. There is no need, because if we are going for a cesarean, the post-operative complications can be much, much more. So any day a doctor would prefer a normal vaginal delivery or an assisted vaginal delivery. Now in the institution where I work, we actually have charged the same fee irrespective of whether it's a cesarean or a normal delivery. And it is not a high fee. So people understand that we give equal time and we wait for a normal delivery. And if it's not possible, only we go for a section, not for the financial incentive. And I can touch my heart and say I'm speaking on behalf of all the obstetricians when I say this. No, I don't think any doctor would do it for the monetary benefit alone. And that's absolutely a myth and not true.
Dr. Gajraj, also there is indication in what he has said is as if the government hospitals don't do caesareans. I know that there is also an allegation that private doctors do not wait. Whereas government hospitals, a woman is supposed to push for 24 to 36 hours. Isn't that very, very traumatic and dangerous for an expectant mother to keep pushing? I mean, it's not a joke, is it? Tell me from the medical point of view, Dr. Gajraj, don't government hospitals perform caesareans? It's impossible for them not to do it, ma'am.
Definitely. In fact, the government hospitals become a referral center. They become a referral center for high-risk pregnancies. So the section rate there is also high. It is not low. It is comparative to what the rate is in the private practice. So it is not true to say that government hospitals it is less and in private it's more. The threshold may be for a woman who comes to a private hospital for opting for a section after being in labor, maybe a little more. That is true, that we cannot deny that. But certainly there is no big difference because the government hospitals are referral centers and they get all the high-risk cases. So they are also forced to do cesarean sections. And there is no big significant difference in the cesarean section rates between the private and the government. I agree with everybody that it is good for all of us to keep it as low as possible. There's no doubt at all about it. But where indicated, we cannot compromise a woman's health just because we want a normal delivery or just because we want the rates to be low.
Yeah, because a lot of times C-sections are also associated with celebrities who do not want to undergo the pain, etc. I do not know how true that is, Dr. Gajraj. I will not ever kind of, just do a generalization which is so sweeping. I mean, it is all hearsay, what people, hear and word of mouth, they spread it. I want to ask you something because it happened in Ballari, which is not urban Bengaluru, Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai or Delhi. Therefore, the big question is because of these tragedies which occurred there, Dr. Gajraj, not one, 5 deaths. A woman, the last woman to die there, all of them apparently were in excellent health. They were all young, as in, age is also very, very important when it comes to delivering a child in a healthy, normal fashion. But the thing is, because of this ring lactate and this kind of this thing which failed, the question is, how come in Ballari there are so many women who opted for caesarean? It is not possible at all. Please explode this myth for us. The rural-urban divide, hasn't that also, there has been a major change in the expectant mothers now?
Certainly, expectations have changed and are changing over the years because they are also exposed to the same, internet media, etc. in their own lingo. So they are also reading about it. enough media is thrown at them, so they know what to ask for. But what we have to understand is that these women are not saying, walking in and saying, do a cesarean for me. They are indicated cesarean sections. More and more women, especially in South India, you will find, are coming to the hospitals for delivery. And because they're not having, deliveries at home, medical help is available to everybody. So any government hospital, any small health center also is equipped to take care of deliveries and pregnancies. So the care given is definitely there and people are coming in for help. So we cannot say just because it's Bellary, they should have had more normal deliveries. Women are the same. Indications remain the same. Facilities may change from one center to another, but that will not make a major impact on the overall cesarean section rate. I think where we should be concentrating is, why did we have substandard IV fluids? Why did we have IV fluids with contamination? That is more important to address.
Absolutely.
See,
hit the nail on the
IV
head.
Fluids,
Yes.
the same IV fluids will be given for a woman going for a gynec surgery.
Yes, absolutely. So, instead of focusing on that, they are focusing on C-sections. And like you said, this is not something that I choose by saying I like red better than green. At that time, whatever my doctor says, whatever is good for my health and my baby's health, that's what I have to choose. And if it is C-section, so be it. Dr. Jayashree Gajraj, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
The next story is coming from Kerala. A wild elephant tramples a man to death in Kerala. Locals protest demanding steps to tackle the worsening man-animal conflict.
In the fight against child rape and murder, the police plays a crucial role. Their involvement is both proactive and reactive. It includes interventions at the prevention levels and investigation levels as well. Since the Nirbhaya case in 2012, which led to tougher laws against rape, little appears to have changed. But stopping crime against women cannot be left to the police alone.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
We made history for a reason tonight.
Will it change the shape of American foreign policy? Violence has erupted in Manipur once again. How can we pass judgment, sir, before any inquiry that, they were volunteers or militants, sir?
All right, that's our next story. The worsening man-animal conflict in Kerala. An elephant tramples man to death. A 40-year-old man, identified as Eldus, was trampled to death in Kannacheri in Kottampura Panchayat near Kottamangalam in Kerala. This is not the first time when the man-animal conflict has resulted in such a horrific death. According to eyewitnesses, Eldus had just alighted from a bus and was walking home when a tusker suddenly attacked him. Another person who was walking behind him in the same direction ran for his life and escaped the wrath of the tusker. Eldus was the sole breadwinner for his family of aged parents and a sister. He worked as a casual labourer and was returning after a day's work when tragedy struck. The people of the area have expressed their shock and anger and anguish and refused to allow Eldos's body to be moved, which was mutilated beyond recognition, unless the officials agreed to implement their long-standing demand to end the man-animal conflict which has worsened in the area over the last few years. According to local residents, the 1 kilometer stretch is badly lit and Eldus, who was carrying provisions for his family, was attacked by the elephant which slammed him on a tree. The people are most agitated and raise their demands loud and clear, and that being of putting an end to such deaths by elephants. This prompted Forest Minister A.K. Sasindran to comment